Hello, and welcome to Upfront. My name is Dean Thullner Veljacic, and we are filming on the unceded Nanaimo traditional territory. On this episode of Upfront, I'm just thrilled. I'm so excited to sit down with Holly Bright, who is the founder and the artistic director of Crimson Coast Dance Company. Holly, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm so excited. I've been meeting with you and we've been talking about various other projects, and I just love your energy and I love everything you're bringing to Nanaimo. But before we get started, could you just tell the audience a little bit about who is Holly Bright?
I like to think of myself, Dean, as a friend. I have a way of looking at people and situations, circumstances from all the angles, which is something that I learned from my stepfather, who was a beautiful human, really impacted my life, as did all of my parents. And it's just a skill, I guess, and a quality that I've carried. And I really like to understand what's happening in the room that I'm in, and how people are impacted, what they're thinking, what their views are, as I go into decision making or friendship making, and I feel like people can be safe with me.
I feel safe with you. I think you're marvelous, and I think
Wonderful.
what you're doing for the community is amazing, and I really want to unpack that today, all right?
Thank you.
So let's talk about Crimson Coast. What is Crimson Coast Dance? What is it?
Crimson Coast Dance is a nonprofit charity, and we produce dance experiences in the community. We are an organization that started in '98. 2 years after I began producing dance in Nanaimo, we formed a structure around it called Crimson Coast Dance, which is based on the beautiful sunset and sunrise in Nanaimo that washes our coastal shores. And we began really with a focus on presenting contemporary dance, and have responded to the community in terms of what that means and what that is through the years. And when we first started, there was no contemporary dance here. I didn't know if anyone really knew that adults danced for a living, outside of,
Well, Nanaimo was a bit rough in the old days,
outside
right?
of stripping.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a really interesting journey, and I brought a show over that was really well received, and it kind of started me on this path of introducing the community to what I do and making a place for me and for potential colleagues in the future.
And for community. Let's face it, Nanaimo is one of the fastest growing cities in Canada. People are coming over here in droves in that demographic of kind of 20s to 45. They're young, they are used to the big city, they have families, they want to see that culture, they want to be part of what they're leaving behind, and you're presenting it, you're bringing it for the community. One of the things I wanted to talk about was your commitment to supporting the continuance of the rights and freedoms in full of Indigenous people on Turtle Island. I love your commitment to recognizing the land we're on and the work you're doing. Can you elaborate on that?
Mm-hmm. It's not lost on myself or the organization, that the people in the organization that I work with, that we are presenting dance and holding a space for dance where the original peoples celebrations and expressions through dance, song, and drumming were outlawed. And the irony of that is profound, it's really deep, and we recognize our privilege, how we got here and the cost of that. And we wish to rebuild, to restore, and to honor where we are, to honor the land, honor the people, these incredibly gracious hosts, the Nanaimo Nation immediately to our north, Snanawis, and to our south, Staminas, who host us with gentleness, generosity, and patience, a lot of patience. And as part of that, we look to integrate the work that we're doing into any needs or wants, desires that come up from that community, and to make sure that we follow protocol in our walk here.
Well, listen, you have an amazing website. It's crimsoncoastdance.com. And on your website, you do have diversity statements. And I think if anyone's watching this show and they want to get a clear idea of what you stand for, your mission, and what you're providing for the community, I would urge the audience to check it out. Again, it's crimsoncoastdance.com. So what is Crimson Coast's mission? What is it? What is the mandate and the mission that we're going for here? Let's do mission first. What is your mission statement?
Okay, well, the mission is the why. So why do we do what we do? I started because I live here. I moved here from Manhattan. I wanted to bring a little piece of that here. I was missing it. And also to create a place for me and for colleagues. And I am curious, I'm fiercely persistent, I am unafraid. I feel really brave in being in places that are unknown or that lead people into the unknown. And I believe in our resilience and capacity to create amazing experiences. And in the doing of that, we get to share what it means to be in our bodies, to articulate ourselves in the world. And we do it through dance. And the thing about dance is, the mission, the why, is that this is the instrument, the body is the instrument through which we connect with the world, we connect with each other. And the importance of knowing our strength and our path around and through and with another, the importance of being comfortable in this vessel is essential to harmony. It's essential to harmony with self and with others.
I would say wellness too. You know, there's been a real surgence and a real realization that movement, sound, dance is healing. And it's not only healing for the person who's performing, but it's healing for all of us.
And not only the doing, but the witnessing. Yeah. So an audience member, particularly in dance, rarely just sits and watches. Yeah. There is this whole little movement pattern that goes on. Concert. Yeah. I know. Yeah. And then the other piece is that, particularly now in contemporary dance, we get to be a participant in the interpretation of what we're seeing. Choreographers are now more interested in your poetry as an audience member and how you interpret their work than they are of you getting the message that they intended to give. They're now writing poetry with the body and asking the audience to assist in the delivery of that, to be there as a recipient of the message that comes across to them that's relative to their own experience of living.
Great.
And poetry comes from that.
Holly, I wanted to talk about your mandate. It says on your website that you make dance experiences of many kinds: performance workshops, films, residencies, dialogues, accessibility to people of Nanaimo and the surrounding central Vancouver Island, Gulf Islands. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah, our mandate is to create a place for dance. It's to create an industry, which in some way is an evolution of our work. We started where there was nothing, and now there's an industry that also includes contemporary theater performance companies. And there's a way that the doing of that develops into the economic impact, the opportunities for artists and cultural workers in the community to have work, to even arts administrators and television interviewers have an opportunity to dive into this new art form and new ways of doing their work through it. In terms of the work that we do that gets us there, we offer, basically Crimson Coast has 5 programs. We have a main stage series, which are main stage performances throughout the year. They can be at any theater or even outside, ticketed, free, downtown, all around. And
those performances, if people want to check them again, back to the website and under the tab events, yes? Yep. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
That's fine. We also offer an Infringing Dance Festival, which began in 97, 98 when the first Fringe came, and we co-produced alongside them. And that is a few days of dance that take place indoors and out, basically focusing on those cultural voices, underrepresented voices that we don't often hear from. And then we have a youth program, the Body Talk Hip Hop Powwow program, that was named by youth, and it's basically run by youth, and we just are the banks to their river toward a spring break event where they plan it and host it for the other teens in the community. And they get a little performance after that. We have a residency program where artists come to town and share their artistic vision with community participants. We have a mixed abilities program that's offered to the community twice a month. People get to come and explore dance no matter what their abilities are, and really create an integrated community through that.
But you also provide opportunities for teaching opportunities as well, yes?
Yeah,
So one of the things I question that I guess I'm missing, and you could help me understand, but this whole amazing machine that is all Crimson Coast, how do you fund this? How does this happen? How do you get to be able to continue to facilitate all this wonderful performance to the community?
We do that through the generosity of a lot of people, for one thing.
Wonderful.
The artists are all provided market value wages and fees, and so ticket sales help us immensely, and
so
participation.
If you're watching, go to the events, go to the tabs, go support Crimson Coast, please.
Best way to support is to be there, buy a ticket, show up. If there's no ticket, we offer a lot of free events. We gladly accept donations toward those activities so that we can keep doing what we do. We're funded by the federal, provincial, and municipal governments, and memberships, participation, all support those grant applications. And one of the places we find ourselves now, post-pandemic and new economy, is at a 2019 budget level, which is a little rough. So more than ever, come and see our shows.
Well, and also, from my arts background, funding is tough, and now you're sort of battling the rising costs in venues, but you're actually not getting the revenue that you need. So that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I really would encourage the audience to support you. Your work is incredible. What you're doing for the community is fantastic. And it's also, it's a real wellness health aspect as well. You know, my background is mental health, and I think being able to provide these platforms for artists to express themselves and to give to themselves and to give to the community, it's such a beautiful thing. So what an honor that we have you here.
It's, well, social prescribing is the term for one of the health benefits that you can receive by participating in community events. Just being there as a group and sharing an experience, talking about it, reflecting on it, being inspired, participating in discourse and experiencing beauty. Those are things that help us to stay healthy. They help us define what we care about. And when they challenge us, they help us define who we are. And all of those things are really important in the journey toward maintaining or recovering mental health. And again, the tool that we operate from, our first and last experience of life is movement, and it's really integrated with breath. Those two underlying pieces of movement development for humans are kind of a life, they're our life force. Mm-hmm. And to have any level of comfort with that and an opportunity to be seen moving, or to see people moving and experience the beauty and poetry of that, or to explore with an artist's guidance what it means to take an idea and bring it to form through movement, or to take thoughts, emotions, and bring that to form. As a young person, I really struggled to articulate myself, to articulate my emotions, and to articulate the thoughts I was having. And I realized later in life, when I started to address that, how dance had become so important to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's also, I don't know, I'm witnessing these young kids and this whole acceptance, diversity, inclusion, equity. It's opening doors for people to, like you said, express themselves, to understand themselves, and to feel confident to be themselves. And it's always been relevant through dance, right? So it's a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so you also create educational opportunities. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. We support artists who are up and coming, or even who move to town who have lots of experience to get their feet on the ground here in Nanaimo. We support their classes or their ideas through events until they're off and running on their own, which is really a beautiful experience and privilege. And those artists often will create opportunities for people to dive into a dance experience. It could be exploring a particular artist's voice and the way they work, or it could be exploring an idea and again bringing that to form through movement. It could be exploring the participants' ideas. So we do that, plus we create opportunities for artist talks, so pre-show, at a completely different venue, a completely different time, or post-show, to have a conversation with the artist, to bring all of those feelings and experiences of witnessing or participating in a movement experience to form through words.
So as someone who's watching the show that is wanting to navigate being part of this, whether they're interested in being an educator or being perhaps part of the hip hop group, the youth group, how do people access being involved with Crimson Coast?
Really through our website, contacting us. We're so accessible. Coffee is great, a walk and talk. If people really want to ask some questions and get to know what we're doing. We offer no barriers to participation, so no one has to be afraid of letting us know, hey, this isn't going to work for my budget right now, but we'd really like to participate. I think it takes a little bit of bravery too, because sometimes it is out of the comfort zone, or even to pick up the phone. But we can be fierce. We can. The Push Festival in Vancouver is using this tag phrase this year, culturally fierce, and it resonates so fabulously because we offer work that challenges people and that comforts people, and sometimes just getting out of the house it requires a certain level of fierceness, and we just invite it. We are human, and everyone is welcome, and we also believe in nothing about us without us. So we don't charge into arenas that are not familiar without consultants around to guide with respect to protocol or cultural appropriateness, and certainly creating safety for participants when there might be something that's more intense in terms of time, investment of energy or emotion.
Well, the other thing too is I was at a meeting the other day and someone was talking about how they were sort of finally getting ready to go out again. And I was like, what are they talking about? But I didn't realize that the pandemic had such a big hit on people wanting to be in spaces, sharing spaces, going to galas. As you know, I'm creating a gala, and I would like to say, in the short time that I've had the pleasure of knowing you, my partner Jeremy Mill, you and I went to see you to see how you could help, and you were instantly on it. You were instantly supportive, and I'm amazed at how gracious you are to try to get dancing into the community. But I digress. One of the things I wanted to say is that I've noticed this surgence of people wanting to go out and be seen, to dress up, to be part of something, to feel again. And I think there's an excellent opportunity here to get some marketing and some advertising to promote you and to get people to go to that website. Again, it is crimsoncoast.com. They're doing incredible work. There's so many different platforms. There's so many ways to get involved. I urge you to check it out. Please, really, seriously, check it out. Okay. Very impressive that you want to contribute to the growing arts community and the arts activities in Nanaimo and Central Region. I noticed on your tab that you managed to even do that through COVID. So there was a tab that said Dancing Together. Tell the audience what that was about, or is still about.
Dancing Together probably came post-COVID, because we were so distant during COVID, but in essence, we're always dancing. You and I are dancing right now, and there is a dance that we all have our own unique movement signatures that help us identify each other even, and so we use those and work with those and communicate. Probably more through the posturing and the ways that we move our bodies than through our words, and probably more honestly through the way we use our bodies. And so there's this dance that happens on our stages and in our studios when we have workshops and with the youth. And there's also this dance that happens around the organization and working with other organizations, working with artists administrations. Like, what is this dance that we do? And we do it together, and everybody's voice is really important. So when we look to dancing together, we're looking to make sure that everyone feels included by hearing what they have to say, whether they're on the board or offering feedback or ideas, or an artist who has something they'd like to say. And then the actual act of dancing together is part of it too. Yeah.
Well, listen, Holly, it's crazy. I always invite people on the show and they're like, how are we going to get through half an hour? But we've only got about 5 minutes left. So I do want to encourage people to go to the website, crimsoncoast.com. There are events that are listed. You can get tickets and you can see all the exciting things that Crimson Coast is bringing to Nanaimo. There's Nanaimo Programming Arts Calendar as well, and there's the workshop, Talk About Workshops, on their website. So if you're interested, please contact them. My biggest ask, I guess, at this time is how can we get involved? So we can be part of the team. What does that mean?
Well, we have an AGM coming up, so if you'd like to be a part of the organizing team and a part of the nuts and bolts of the organization, please consider being on the board. In particular, we're looking for people with skills in finance, event planning, fundraising, community connections, law, all the things that support a strong organization. We're moving into some new ways of looking at who we are and what we do and how we do it, and we'd love to have some strong support around those initiatives. You can also become a volunteer. In fact, this Monday night we have a volunteer gathering for us to get to know each other and explore opportunities of volunteerism with Crimson Coast. And what else
can we do? You can donate. You're a registered charity.
Yeah.
So of course, if you're watching the show and you want to donate and you want to help facilitate dance in Nanaimo, please again, go to crimsoncoast.com. They're a registered charity and you'll get a tax receipt. I wanted to mention that Crimson Coast is on 60 Wharf Street in Nanaimo, but please contact them beforehand and make an appointment. Or, they have a flexible schedule, but still you have to make an appointment to go through. You can contact them on Facebook as well, which is Crimson Coast Dance, and you can also see exciting news about what they're doing on Instagram, which is Crimson Coast Dance Society. So Holly, you have stated that through dance you've brought to Nanaimo, the Crimson Coast series is wondrous, powerful, mindful, fulfilling, challenging, and remarkable. On behalf of our community, I'd like to thank you for how fortunate we are to have you to inspire this performances and give these gift backs to our community. I always ask everybody at the end of the interview, if you could send a message out to the viewers, what would that message be?
Dance often.
Dance often? Yeah.
Yes, no matter what that looks like or feels like to you. Yeah, just move your body, move your body and breathe.
Right. So is there any events that you can share that are coming up? Maybe little teasers?
We have some really fantastic events coming up. We have our Body Talk Spring Break Workshop. We're working with Kevin Jesuino, who is part of a residency and main stage program, and the LGBTQIA2 Spirit Plus community here in Nanaimo. Just creating bringing his work to create a space for those voices, and there's an outdoor performance, and actually 2 outdoor performances, and those highlight Kevin's work and his interest in the male perspective and the tenderness of the male relationship, especially against the patriarchal architecture of cities and the fact that we don't often see that level of tenderness.
When will this be?
That's during Pride Week. We're really excited to have a couple of sanctioned events during Pride, which is really exciting for us. And we have a Chinese opera, Peking opera specialist coming in May to offer some cultural experiences, tea ceremonies, opera makeup, instructional workshops, shoes and costume, fashion shows, basically where the participants get to try them on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he'll perform during the Infringing Dance Festival.
So some of these events are also going to be at various things like the Port Theatre. So you can either go to your website or you could actually check out, I guess, the Port Theatre of up-and-coming events, sort of either way. All right, well, Holly, thank you so much for coming out and joining me. I just think you're a marvel, and I think what you're bringing to Nanaimo is so great, and I can't urge the audience enough to please support Crimson Coast. You know, there's a lot of joy, there's a lot of movement, and there's a lot of health and wellness that comes from dance. And I really hope that you're all going to reach out and support them and go see all the fabulous things they're bringing to Nanaimo this season. Again, thank you so much for joining me on Upfront. Next week, we're going to turn things around, and my very good friend Kathy Holmes from Act 3 is going to interview me and talk about a little bit about me so the audience can get to know what I'm about and what I'm bringing to Nanaimo to help at-risk youth. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next time.